hole for telling our son that if he drops out of school he has 6 months to move out. This evening my husband 42 male and I 40 female got into an argument with our 17-year-old son. He told us at dinner that he needs our signatures to drop out of school. We know that he has been struggling since remote learning started last year. We have worked closely with his school to develop an IP and he goes to therapy 3 times per week. His school has implemented everything that his therapist recommended, including reduced assignments, more time on tests and frequent breaks during lectures. I have even cut my hours down to part-time at work so that I can be home to help him when needed. He told us that if we won't sign the paperwork, that as soon as he turns 18 in May, he will sign the forms himself and drop out. My husband asked what plans he had if he were to drop out, such as work, living situation and transportation, and he said he was going to stay here so he wouldn't have to worry about any of that. We both told him that if he dropped out of school that he would not be leaving here, that he would have 6 months in which he would need to find a job, a place to live and his own transportation to get back and forth from work. We told him that if he is going to make the adult decision to discontinue his education that he would need to be able to support himself, because we would not be doing that. My husband, a mason, knows several people who are looking for apprentices in vac and as an electrician, but our son says he doesn't want to do that kind of work. He says he wants to make his living as an influencer because he can't work for other people. We told our son that our decision stands, that at this time he has 3 choices. Graduate and get a job, go to college, graduate and work a trade, or leave. Our son called us both stupid a-holes and told us we don't understand that he doesn't want to work like dad. Am I the a-hole for telling our son that if he drops out of school he has 6 months to move out? Not the a-hole. It seems like you and your husband have been very diligent in working with his therapist and his school to get him the services he needs. I encourage you to call his therapist and let them know that he is talking about dropping out of school. If there is anything that can be done to prevent him from dropping out, that will be for his benefit. I get that he thinks this influencer lifestyle is glamorous, but it is not sustainable. If he doesn't want to do college, the trades are awesome. They are hard work, and the pay is garbage as an apprentice, but it will pay off. My husband is a master electrician and makes more than me with 2 college degrees. If your son does decide to drop out, 6 months is more than enough time to get his ducks in a row. Stand firm and do not back down. Not a hole, you are giving him options. This is where he will learn the truth about being an adult. Am I the a-hole for taking my stepdaughter's side over my son? I, 55 male, remarried 8 years ago. My new husband, 58, has a severely disabled daughter, 32, who lives with us. She has cerebral palsy, autism, epilepsy, and several life-threatening allergies, and she's the sweetest person I've ever met. She gets upset easily, but she's a very warm, loving woman and I'm grateful to have her in my life. I consider her my daughter. I also have a biological son, 26, who moved in with us during the pandemic. We had a very good relationship when he was a kid, but as he got older he became more distant and started to bully his classmates. When my ex-wife and I tried to talk to him about it, he became aggressive with us, so we were forced to pull him out of school and homeschool him to protect other students. He's always resented us for ruining his education. After he moved out, we didn't talk much. He was very angry when his mother and I divorced, even though it was pretty amicable, and left me several nasty voicemails when I came out as gay. He was invited to my second wedding but refused to come. All this to say, I was hesitant to let him stay with us, but my ex-wife talked me into it. He was immediately very hostile to my daughter, mainly by insulting her interests. She loves Naruto, and has a giant black cat named Madara who's almost always with her. Son told her Naruto is a stupid show, and black cats are unlucky, making her cry. I told him if he made her cry again he had to find another place to live. Not even a week later he deliberately broke the head off a Sakura figurine. She collects Naruto figurines, and this one cost over $200. My husband and I immediately told him to get out of our house and not come back. His grandmother is very upset with us, saying he would be homeless if she hadn't taken him in. She insists I'm a horrible father, and I should take my son's side over my stepdaughter. There's no way I'm putting my daughter in danger, though, and I've made that clear. Now my ex-wife's family is mad at me, although she's on my side and has threatened to cut contact with our son. Am I the a-hole? I know it's not right to evict someone during a pandemic, but he can take care of himself. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry that your son is such an a-hole. I can't imagine how hard that is to deal with. And no, you should not take the side of an abusive a-hole over the side of the victim. Agreed, not the a-hole. It doesn't matter what your relationship with the players are. The abuser gets curbed. Period. But you should offer to do family therapy with your son, if you're willing. Things won't get better with him unless you take active steps. Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out because she tried flirting with my husband? I, 27 female, have a little sister, Emily, 20 female. My husband, 27 male, and I have been together since our college days. Back when we started dating, Emily, who is 13 to 14 then, seemed to have this little crush on my husband, then boyfriend. She would blush in his presence, stutter while talking to him, etc. We assumed that the crush went away as she grew older, and her behavior indicated so. My husband thinks of Emily as the little sister he never had, and treats her as such. We've not had much contact with Emily over the years, as we live in a different state at the other side of the country and she's been busy with her schooling. Last week, my parents and Emily were visiting our house for my birthday weekend. From the moment Emily arrived, she would not stop flirting with my husband. From excessively complimenting everything he did to proclaiming things like they would make a great pair, etc. etc. My husband looked very uncomfortable, and so did my parents. I don't know how we got through the dinner. After the evening was done, my husband asked me if there was something wrong with Emily and that why was she behaving like that. He said she made him very uncomfortable and asked me to talk to her. So I found her alone, and tried telling her that it was fine if she has a crush, but it's never fine to make anyone uncomfortable. I told her that it would be nice if she kept her distance for the remaining 2 days they were here, since he was not okay with this behavior. She said she wasn't being flirty or improper. I told her that she was indeed being inappropriate and it was very creepy that she would try to flirt with my husband. She got very defensive and said that I was being insecure, and I quote, "If I was really flirting with him, you wouldn't stand a chance." I lost it at this point and told her that she's no longer welcome in our house and should foo off the first thing in the morning. Emily and my parents left the very next day. Even though my dad agreed that Emily's behavior, throughout the evening, was very inappropriate, and that she should apologize to my husband. Mom thinks nothing of that sort happened and all three of us are being delusional, and that it was a dick move to kick Emily, and by extension her, out of my house when they'd traveled all the way here. Am I the a-hole? Proclaiming things like they would make a great pair. Laugh out loud. Your sister is dealing with some issues. You are definitely not the a-hole here. Your partner came to you feeling extremely uncomfortable about your sister's actions. You diplomatically brought it to your sister's attention, and she got defensive instead of apologizing. Again, not the a-hole. You did all you could. It was either kick her out or force your partner to be uncomfortable in his own home. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my wife over $2? My wife, 38 female, and I, 33 male, have been married for 8 years. We have 1 child together, 5 male. Some background that might be relevant. I work full-time. She works about 15 hours a week. Our finances have always been separate. However, I pay all the bills and for all our fun stuff, as well as give her an allowance of $1,000 per month. In fact, she currently has almost 3 times as much money saved as I do. The fight. We were out for a walk and I wanted to get a holiday drink from a coffee shop for us to share. My wife told me not to get it. She said she had a gift card, but only for a certain location. So I waited until we walked past that location. My wife then said she would go in to get it and we would meet at home. I left with our son. When my wife got home, I noticed she was drinking a plain coffee. I asked her where my drink was and she said there wasn't enough money left on her card to get me the kind that I wanted. I admit I kind of blew up at her. I asked her why she didn't just let me buy the drink myself then? Or why not use some of the money I gave her? Or even just let me know she couldn't get it. Honestly, it's like a $2 difference. I was actually so mad I had to leave the house. I'm currently at my sister's place, just hanging out in the front yard because of the global situation. I don't know if I should go home and apologize for yelling or stay until I've truly calmed down. My wife always makes me feel like I'm overreacting, but I feel genuinely hurt. Edit, typo. Should be $1,000 month. Not $100. She said the amount. Not the a-hole. I know exactly how it feels to be constantly giving and giving to get nothing back. Yeah, it's over something so small, but isn't that the point? She can't do the bare minimum and pay the extra to get you a coffee. This is clearly an accumulation of things building up because it does feel crappy giving your all to get nothing back.